So it says we are live streamed on YouTube.
Okay, I'd like to open this public meeting. Call the meeting to order. Okay, the first thing is the approval of the agenda. Has everybody reviewed the agenda? And we need a mover and a seconder.
I move that we approve it, Tom.
I'll second it.
Okay, carried. Now we have the approval of the minutes for January the 28th and February the 9th. Everybody read them over and are happy with them?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yes. Yes.
I have one question.
Okay.
On the minutes, when we rejected it, we have to put down, when we rejected it, we had to put down reasons why we rejected it. Do they not have to show up in the minutes?
That's a good
Minutes
question.
are without note or comment. So it's just the decision.
Just a decision. Okay, thank you. So everybody in favor of the minutes?
Um,
My
Okay,
hand up there.
carried. Now, is there any disclosure of interest from members of the committee? Declare it now, or well, just declare it now because this is the only time you get a chance.
No.
Okay. The purpose of this meeting is to consider two applications for minor variance to facilitate a consent application. And I will say all comments are to be made through the chair. And before we start, I guess, I don't know if I know everybody online or not, but everybody's got their name on the bottom, and I'm the chair of the committee. So anyway, we'll turn this over to you, Forbes, and you can go through the minor variance application. We'll do one at a time. So we'll do the A one first.
Very good. Thank you very much, Chair. It's a pleasure to be before you this evening or this afternoon. The first minor variance application that's before you by Mr. Claude Perreault deals with lands described as lot 43 King Street in Montague. The planning report that's been presented to you identifies the location of the subject lands, and that it is in the general residential -2 zone. The first application is to have a modest, or is requesting a modest reduction in the minimum lot size that's set out for the R2 or RG-2 zone. Currently, the bylaw requires 665 square meters of minimum lot size, and the proposal is to have lot sizes ranging from 657 to 661 square meters in size. And just for those like myself that prefer standard measurements, that's less than 100 square feet of reduction that's been requested. So the minor variance is intended to assist with a future land division application to divide the property in two. There is a map at the back of the report, Chair. It's attachment 1. It shows the proposed lot division with lot B and lot A. Lot B would be the severed parcel, and lot A would be the retained parcel. In terms of looking at the development, the official plan designates the property as settlement area, which is the appropriate location to direct development towards. The official plan goes to quite length directing development to the settlement areas. In terms of the compliance with the zoning, the request today with this application is a modest reduction in the 665 square meter lot size. All other provisions of the zoning bylaw will be complied with. although there is another application to be considered. In terms of correspondence, we have received some comments. We've got one from Daria Sengovani, and I apologize for the pronunciation of that name, who's indicated that she's concerned with the yard reductions, both the interior and the side yard. This application isn't dealing with those, so I'm going to reserve Daria's comments for the next application, if I may, Chair. There was also correspondence from the town of Smith Falls. They were clarifying the scale of development, and they wanted it, they were confirmed through the lawyer for the applicant, who's with us today, that the development proposed is for a single detached dwelling on each lot with a detached garage. So again, to confirm, there is to be a house, a single detached house with a detached garage proposed for each lot. And that is the focus of the development. Mr. Chair, I've gone through the applications. I've assessed them against the 4 conditions that are set out, the 4 tests that are set out in the Ontario Planning Act for Committee of Adjustment applications. The first test is whether the application maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan. And I believe, as I stated earlier, that residential development is encouraged to be in settlement areas such as this, and this application maintains that intent. With respect to the zoning bylaw, it's the intent of the minimum lot size to be consistent with the lot fabric, to establish a consistent sort of lot fabric within the neighborhood. The proposed lot areas for the severed and retained lots are very, very close to the minimum set out in the bylaw. And I would submit that it would be very difficult to visually distinguish a lot that's 7,200 square feet in size versus 7,100 square feet in size. And in my opinion, this development does maintain the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The next test is whether it's desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. I think everything in planning today is looking at infill and intensification, and that this development would fit that bill and would be seen as an appropriate and desirable form of development for the subject lands. The final test, Mr. Chair, as you know, is whether the application is minor. And minor is not a question of mathematical formula. It's a question of effect. Will this minor variance have a minor effect on the surrounding neighborhood? And again, I think that the reduction that's being asked today personifies the concept of minor, and that there will be no impact on the neighborhood as a result of the reduction in the minimum lot size requested with this application. That being said, Mr. Chair, I'm satisfied as a professional planner in the province of Ontario that the application meets the 4 tests set out in the Planning Act for Committee of Adjustment decisions. There are no conditions that I'm recommending with this application. And my recommendation to the committee today is that the application that's been submitted, that is, I'm sorry, that's A21-005 parole minor variance be granted as submitted to you. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any, Chair.
One question I have is, this application is only for the size of the lot. So the drawings which show the setbacks, that doesn't included in this severance. Like, we're only doing the size of the lot. We're not doing we're not approving the setback. That's the second application, correct?
You're absolutely correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any concerns from members of the committee?
I'm okay with it, Tom. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, how about you, Jim?
I'm fine.
Um, as on the committee, I have no problems with the size of the lots. So I'm in agreement too. So I guess we'll go to the vote. Do we approve it? Okay, I guess vote for it. Do we accept it or deny it?
I vote yea.
And all accept, acknowledge. Okay, passed.
Yes.
Now we'll go to the second application, or the second request.
Thank you
And
very much.
Forbes,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you, Chair. So I'm not going to repeat my assessment of the property. Though this application was submitted to request two specific variances. One was to reduce the minimum side yard setback for the dwelling from 3 meters to 1.5 meters. That's going from 10 feet down to 5 feet. And as well requesting the rear yard setback from 3 meters to 1.5 meters. Mr. Chair, I did have an opportunity to review this application with Mr. Andrew Howard, the agent for the applicant, to seek clarification. The request for reduction in the rear yard setback, Mr. Chair, I do not believe is necessary. It was submitted only to deal with the detached garage. And the detached garage is permitted under the current zoning of the property to be 1 meter from the lot line. They're proposing 1.5 meters. And therefore, the second component of the request is redundant and will not be part of the recommended decision today. The only question that this application needs to address, Mr. Chair, is the side yard setback reduction from 3 meters down to 1.5 meters. When you look at side yard setbacks, Mr. Chair, they're designed and intended to establish a sense of yard space and separation between buildings on a property. And in reviewing the proposal with Mr. Howard, we've come to an agreement that the best thing would be to have the 1.5 meter lot lines abutting each other. That the house on the west side of the lot has a westerly side yard of 3 meters and an easterly side yard of 1.5 meters. And that the easterly lot would have a lot side yard setback on the west of 1.5 meters and on the east of 3 meters. This would mean, Mr. Chair, that there would be 1.5 meters between the two new lot line of the two dwellings, but where they abut an existing development to the east and the west, they would maintain the 3 meter side yard setback. And I think that that would be a much better configuration than each of the lots having an easterly side yard setback of 1.5 meters. My assessment of the applications is that the official plan is maintained by this application. The intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained, albeit with this change, and that it is desirable for the use of the land and it is seen as being minor in nature. But with respect to the comments that we received from the abutting property owners, I think that the redesign, having 3 meters on the outside of the property and 1.5 meters on the inside of the properties, will respect the interests of the abutting property owners. And so the condition that's written before the committee, I believe, is not correct, Mr. Chair. I would like that condition to be rewritten and read as follows: that the applicant provide a revised site plan for the development of the two proposed lots, which has a 1.5 meter side yard on the east side of Lot B and the west side of Lot A, proposed so that there is a 3 meter side yard against abutting lands. I've emailed that to Christie, and that's my report, Mr. Chair. And I see Mr. Howard has a question. So that's my report as it stands right now, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Howard.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that the 1.5 is what we're requesting on the other side. However, on the side abutting the neighboring properties, it wouldn't just be 3, it'd actually be 7 meters. Oh, sorry, 3 meters, yeah. Sorry, you're correct. Sorry about that, Mr.
Okay. I have one question on the sketch here, the drawing. Now, the 1.5 meters from the side, you're only showing that, is it at a porch or a stoop or something? Not the main part of the house. Is that correct? On the
Sorry,
very last,
Mr. Chair, we missed that.
pardon?
We missed your question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, on the very last page, the last item of the second request, there is a drawing which shows the area of the house, the lot, size of the lot and whatnot. And on the side of the house, it shows a little jut out where it shows 1.5 meters from the property line. Is that just a porch or a stoop or something like that? And what size is that?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, that is actually being deleted now. So that would be the side of the house.
Oh, that's gone then.
Okay, because that changes my opinion of it. It's 1.5 meters, and I'll give you my reason, is 1.5 meters. I live in a single bungalow house. I put a steel roof on it, and when the snow comes off the roof, it comes out past 1.5 meters. It would damage any fence there, any vehicle parked on the other side of the 1.5 meters. If it was just a porch, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But if it's the full side of the house, 1.5 meters to me is setting up the property owner for damages, causing damages to the next door property of anything that's sitting there or fence they put up. Go ahead, Forbes.
Mr. Chair, I wish to make the point for you and for the committee that throughout small town Ontario, the standard for minimum side yards is 1.2 to 1.5 meters. And that's based on fire code protection standards that have made their way into most zoning bylaws in fully serviced urban areas, and that they've been tried, tested, and true, and they're extremely effective, and they do not create problems between properties. This is a little different situation in this respect, but I think that the important thing to realize, Mr. Chair, is that this 1.5, although it's recognized as a standard, it would be the 2 new houses that would be dealing with this reduction and not abutting properties.
But it would be, I agree on that. It's the budding or the 2 new properties, but it's who owns the properties in the future is where the problem I'm concerned about.
I respect
like if
that,
it was
Mr.
an
Chair.
asphalt roof, it would not be a problem. If it's a steel roof, like only reason I say that is I live in a house with a steel roof. I know it comes out. If we get a lot of snow in the winter, it'll come out. The snow and the ice will come out over 2 meters. It will destroy anything sitting on sides or the back of my house. Go ahead, Mr. Howard.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Now, as it relates to there are other factors that have to be considered as well as that. I mean, it also depends on the slope of the roof.
If you build like the way the house is gonna be, the gables, it's gonna be like on each side of the lot, there will be no roof. There'll be the overhang. So there won't affect any of this. If I put a metal roof, is it gonna slide to the front of the house or the back of the roof? The
Not to
only
the-
way that you can have all around, if you got hip roofs, you have gables, like you have the gables, like you get your overhang in front, so the snow goes in the front and in the back. It doesn't go on the sides of your house.
Oh, if that's the case, it's not a
That's
problem
fixed.
then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Forbes.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend then that if we're going forward and to address your concerns, if we indicate that the gable ends will abut the side yards as a condition, that should satisfy your concerns, sir.
Yes, it would.
Yep.
Also, I know you're not doing the garage, but I would like the same applied to the garage. So the opposite. So it's the gable end that's towards the property line.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may on that, sir, as I indicated at the first of the applications, the garage and the reduction is no longer a matter before the committee. That's been withdrawn because they are allowed to go to 1 meter with that garage at the rear. So really the only thing that we're speaking to, sir, at this time is the house and not the garage.
Okay, that would be the site plan when they do a site plan for the property.
Yes,
That
sir.
would come up in that instance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. No. Is there any questions from the audience? Have you had any questions, Christy?
We have one member, well, we have two members from the public watching. We have Daria and we have Dan. So if they would like to, you can go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Daria, I guess.
Hello. So thanks everyone for letting me attend. This has been a really good learning process for me. And thank you again, Forbes, for taking time to explain the stuff to me. You've answered all my questions, so thank you so much. I just have a question about the diagram on the last page of the package where it shows the lot on the bottom. There's a dotted line that says like, I think it's 3 meters and then it's dotted across. What does that represent?
Go ahead, Forbes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's the location of the 3 meter side yard setback. So they've shown what the side yard setback of 3 meters would look like on the property. So that's to identify what that space is.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other question from the other person watching or not? None?
I will double check.
No questions. I'm just an observer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee now? How about you, Brian?
No, I'm good, Jim. Sorry, Tom. I'm glad that everything was clarified there on the setbacks and everything, so I'm
Oh.
okay.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Jim?
No, I'm fine with it too. The way the question you asked on the side there was perfect. So no, I'm fine.
Yes, I find that by explaining where the gable end of the house is going to be, that definitely clears up my question, my concern. Because if it was the other way, I would really be concerned about it. So
No, good question, Tom.
now, will that will be written up? Will it, Forbes, in there that's how it is?
Mr. Chair, my recommendation would be 2 conditions to this decision. The first, that the side yards be internalized, the 1.5 be internalized. And then the second condition is that the gable ends abut the side lot lines.
Yeah, okay, I agree with both of them.
It's written up that way.
Is the applicant happy with that, Mr. Howard?
Yes, he is, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we're ready for the decision. Unless there's any other discussion that we need, or anyone aware of any other discussion? Well, if not, we'll have a vote on it. I still think, I don't know, the 1.5 meters is 50% of what the bylaw says now. But you say it's not a numerical number for a minor setback.
No, Mr. Chair, you don't look at the percentages, you look at the effect. And that's based on case law before the Ontario Lands Tribunal that I've been there many times in the past, sir. And it's about effect. It's not a question of the percentages.
Okay.
And the effect is that it's going to be a side yard setback that is recognized as a standard throughout small town Ontario.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor of allowing this application for this setback? All in favor?
As long as the two are written in, the two changes.
Yep.
Okay. Declare the decision is passed. And a reminder to the audience, if they want formal notice of the decision, to please leave their name with Christy or send it in to Christy. And we don't have a next meeting planned, do we, Christy? Okay.
Not yet, no, sorry.
All right, hopefully not. Okay, I'll call for adjournment. All in favor? Okay, I declare the meeting officially